Hello and welcome to the video for Monday for October 5th. Let me start that over. Welcome to the video for Monday, October 5th for game design. I'm going to let people in from the waiting room. Hello. How you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
Good. I'm running on energy drinks right now.
Oh, why is that? Did you not get any sleep?
Yeah, no, my computer had some trouble last night connecting, and I was trying to complete an assignment before it was due, and I had to stay up and figure that out. So that was fun.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'm sure we all envy you right now.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah,
Sounds like a
that.
great time.
what did they do before energy drinks? Did they just inject like venom into their veins, or I don't know what they did.
Coffee and sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, they chewed on bamboo or sugar cane or something. Um, okay, well let me put you guys in the attendance, and then we'll get started up here. All right, there. All right, game designer, and then here. Okay, I think I got that. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen here. Actually, before I share my screen, I wanted to check. So let's see, Hunter, do you have a presentation or did you do one already? I can't recall. Are you there, Hunter?
Yes, I'm right here. Sorry.
Okay. Did you already give your presentation or because I have you marked down for today, but I'm not sure if you gave it already.
I have not.
And do you have one or do you need more time?
I need a little more time, please.
Okay, I can give you 5 minutes. No, I'm kidding. uh, no, how about you want to shoot for Wednesday?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So you can give it then. Let's see. Now, is there anybody else who has yet to give a presentation that maybe finished theirs early and wants to give it today? If you have, you may. People finishing work early. I that's sort of an anomaly right there with black holes. I don't think it's going to happen. But anyway, all right. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And so we got an article today that I think is mostly something Creed and his team will be happy about. So, article Making the Monsters of Lovecraft Country. And
Nice.
yeah, if you like these creepy Lovecraftian guys, this article tells you about how they did it. Look at this cool 3D model. I'll make that a little smaller so we can. Oh, why did it get bigger? Smaller. Um, so look at that cool model of this just creepazoid guy. Oh wait, let me see. I've got a chat message in here. Yeah, very kissable, exactly. Um, maybe, oh God, disgusting. Okay, and then here's another example of it. It says the creature's body was inspired by the look and movement of big cats and gorillas. So it's creepy, and yet it moves sort of elegantly, which is even creepier, I think. You expect something that ugly to just be lumbering along, but the fact that it like can sort of move like a jaguar is even scarier.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There's another. Oh my God.
Oh, God.
I was hungry before I looked at this, and now I'm never going to eat again. Okay. Anyway, so that's for those of you that enjoy this type of sci-fi or horror kind of stuff. Let's see. And then there's another article here you guys can check out at your convenience. This was called The Invasion of the German Board Games, and sometimes called Euro games. And what happened was, of course, Monopoly was and probably still is the king of the gaming world. There's nobody who hasn't played Monopoly. There's nobody who doesn't know about Monopoly. But a number of years ago, probably 20 or more years ago now, the Germans, in particular, started invading the board game market, and the whole it's kind of like the British invasion when the Beatles came over in the 60s. The Germans came over, led by this game, which is Catan. And many people consider Catan the monopoly of our age. It's a fun game to play. It's really challenging. You can play from a very simple to a very advanced level, and it's extremely popular. There's like 37 different flavors of Catan right now that you can buy. But anyway, that kind of broke. Catan broke the market open for the Euro games and especially the German games, and so that's what this article is about. All the games that came over from Germany, and not only did they come in and succeed, but they kind of changed the market a little bit, because of course everything that comes to the top of a market changes everything after it. And so after that, there were a lot more games, including American games, that were influenced by these European games. So check out that article if you get a chance. Okay, and then the third thing here is I put a blog post up, and this one kind of falls into the category of one of my earlier posts. If you recall, I had a post up where I was showing a little robot that was kind of plain, and I gave him some emotive face and some arms and tilted him, and he looked more interesting. Well, this is along those lines, but what it's talking about is specifically at what level should you stop working on a graphic? What is acceptable for graphics in game design? So I sort of posit this argument here that when you create a graphic, it could fall into maybe one of these four categories. It's kind of a very weak graphic. Maybe it's even a placeholder level. It's just passable. It's good enough to get by. It's actually a good graphic, or maybe it's just great. People throw money at you when they see this graphic. So that's, a great graphic. Anyway, I'm asking the question here, like, do we want just passable graphics? I would think that if you wanted to make a great game, you would want to make every facet of it as good as possible. And that includes the graphics. And of course, some of us aren't, really graphic oriented. We're more code oriented, or we're more design oriented. Maybe we're thinking up the mechanics of the game and the dynamics. But sometimes we're forced to do graphics because we don't have any choice. There's nobody else around to do it. So what I'm talking about in this blog post is, instead of from a bottom-up approach, going from a top-down approach. And by that I mean, instead of just dropping in a placeholder graphic and then trying to gradually improve that until it's passable, and then really focus on the mechanics of the game, but the graphics are not that good. If you want a great game, shoot for great graphics, right? Try to create the best graphics you possibly can. Now, you're not always going to hit that point of greatness, right? But if you shoot for the moon, you might end up in the stars, right? You might get something really good. So it's about having a bar that's set very high for yourself, as opposed to something that's like just okay. So I gotta let one more person in here. Okay. So of course, I'm working on this game, Diner Duel, that I've been working on for a while, and I have some graphics from that to show you, and I'll show you once again, the first version of something, and then the improvements from that. So what we have here is what I refer to as a player mat. And what that is just sort of a rectangular board that sits outside the main game board and sits in front of a player. And they can use this to put cards on, and they can also collect tokens, these little round tokens. And it's a way for them to keep track of what's going on in the game. It's a way for them, they don't have to keep it all in their head, so it makes it more fun when you have sort of a visual record of what's going on in the game state, if you will. So this was the first one I made. It would hold 4 little mini cards and then little round discs there. Every time you fought a battle, you would get a round disc if you won, and you would put it up there. So it's a way to keep count of what's going on. So I made this, and I thought, oh, cool, I've got this little player mat. And then I looked at it, and I thought, that's about as passable a graphic as you could ever get. I mean, yeah, it does the job, but it's not exciting. It's not going to get anybody to buy this game or be excited about looking at it during the game. So I thought, well, the first thing it needs is a background graphic, right? In addition, it could probably be cleaned up. This text is all kind of busy at the top. There's a bunch of buttons, a bunch of those tokens. Maybe I could change the game mechanics so that you needed fewer tokens, make them a little bigger, repurpose the text, and then get an image back there. So I thought, what kind of images work for this game? Well, this is a game about, Martian robots that come to Earth and invade. So I thought, how about a picture of Mars? So I went out, I got a picture of Mars, I put it back there. So here's the second version of the player mat, and you can see that now I've got sort of a Martian background back there and the stars. I increased the size of these little circles that are going to hold the discs. I put in some more explanatory text and moved the text that was at the top off to the sides, and so it looks better. I think it's beyond passable. Maybe it's adequate. Woo. Maybe I'm reaching the lower. Maybe I hit the lower reaches of goodness at this point, right? I was like, I could stop there. I was like, it's okay. But I look at it. I want to make a great game. It's not great. It's not good. It's not clearly, solidly in the good category. So I thought, okay, what else can I do? I can rethink the mechanics a little bit more, and how I want to have people collect these little circles and stuff. Maybe gives them some more text to explain that. And I thought, what about an image that's going to excite me? Well, one of the things that happens is these rocket ships, these robots get on rocket ships and come over to Earth and invade. And I thought, rocket ships? Who doesn't like rocket ships? So what if we nuke the Mars and put it in a rocket ship? So there's Vecteezy is a vector website that I use sometimes, or all the time actually. I get I pay to download art from that, and then I customize it to my needs, or I make my own art. So I found a great rocket ship. I put it back there. I rearranged the little dots and everything, and then I came up with this. And I was really happy with this. I thought, okay, now I can look at this and it feels like something that belongs in a game. It's something I'm excited about it. I like the rocket ship. I was able to squeeze my logo in there on the port, on the window. I put in some text. You'd have to read the rules to understand what all this text means, but it's more clear, what goes where and what's happening. There's a background that's sort of like blurred out stars. And I even made I sort of reformatted the board. This one's actually a little taller. If you look at this last one, this one's actually a little taller than the last one. So, and this is where I stopped. I thought to myself, okay, I've done it. I've got something that is good enough. I think it does fall solidly in the good category. And it feels like something I'm excited about. I like the graphic, and that players will have fun looking at, because this is going to sit in front of them during the whole game. So you don't want, something junky. So now I'm good with that, and I move on to the next thing. So, once again, like a previous post, this is just the evolution of graphics, but also combined with the thought process of when should you stop? When is good enough? And so for everybody, that's going to be a little different. Of course, time and money, budget and all that come into play. But you can set your own bar, and like I said, if you set the bar higher and you shoot for it, even if you don't make it, if you come down a little bit, you're going to end up with something better than if you're just like, well, let's just throw some graphics in there and then let's just kind of improve them a little bit so they're good enough. Try to make them great, and you should be happy with the results of what you come up with. Okay, so all right, that's a blog post. So then I wanted to check in with you guys and see what kind of improvements you've made to your games. Is there anybody who's got anything new we haven't seen yet, whether it's graphics or a prototype that has changes to it? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't have much of anything to show yet. I did improve the font, so it's a lot more legible. You can actually read it now and kind of tell what it is, but I made those changes. I'm still wanting to put in the, like how I mentioned that I want to make it so that the event cards scale for the amount of players, because like the first event card was like the one that I drew last week was like, oh, fight 2 mini mechs. But it's like, if you're playing with 4 people and you're just fighting 2 mini mechs, it's like half the players aren't even going to get a chance to play. So I want to implement scaling that. So if it's 4 players, maybe you fight 6 mini mechs or something like that. So I'm kind of still working on that. But then unfortunately, my girlfriend started her new job this week. So I got kicked out of the bedroom. So I don't have access to my PC to show you guys anything anyway.
What?
I
Tell her
know.
this is of the utmost importance.
I'm telling. I know. I'm like Mia. I'm really proud of you and everything, but maybe you're gonna have to quit because I gotta have
Because I have
tabletop
this
simulator.
game
Yeah,
that's just an assignment, but you know,
yeah.
it's mine.
It's important, Mia.
Priorities, honey.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway. Okay. Understood. And yeah, I look forward to seeing the graphics because I really want to see those more legible graphics on your cards.
Right.
Thanks for the update.
Yeah, of course.
Let's see. Let's go down here. So, how about you, Jazz? What's happening with your work? I see a microphone that's on, but I'm not hearing anything. Okay. So maybe he stepped away for a second. So,
Sorry.
that's okay. So, Jazz, what's going on with your game, your team's game?
Well, I haven't worked much on the mechanics in a little bit. I coordinated with Livia a little bit. I like her art a lot. So I'm gonna take a more in-depth look at the cards and see if I can't get some of her templates laid out in a way for Tabletop Simulator.
Okay.
Um,
Were you able to get access to Photoshop?
I am working on that. I don't think I have Photoshop in the subscription though.
Did you try the Pima login like I told you?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't give you Photoshop?
Well, there's Photoshop. So what's on the subscription is Photoshop Express, which I don't know. I mean, hopefully I'll be able to open Livia's art with it.
Okay. All right. So you got to give it a shot and see where you end up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me know. Let me know what goes on with that.
Will do.
I'm seeing some message here that my audio is a little choppy, so I'll see maybe if I can shut down a few programs, a few hundred programs on my computer here, and devote a little more memory to that. See if it improves. Okay. Let's see. Who else has got something they're working on? Coulter, I know you were up late working on your other project and stuff, but have you made any progress on your game?
We got the table reorganized in tabletop, and to track like how many times you get to steal cards, we decided to add some marbles to the table.
Oh.
And we got like a small thing written up. We still got to get the rules written down. So if we have a public game, everybody will kind
Okay.
of
All
be on
right.
the same page of how to play it. But so far, we
So Coulter, you're fading in and out.
haven't done too much, but we've solved that router. But yeah, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So is there any way, will we be able to see the changes to your board? Could you share your screen and show us Tabletop Simulator or somebody else?
Oh yeah, I'll get that pulled up in a little bit. I don't have anything open.
All right, let me know. Let me know when it's ready.
All right.
What about some of you other folks? What about the Man of War team? Anything new there? Anything new in Man of War land?
Not really, no.
Okay. And then let's see. How about anybody who's working on a game individually? Any of you folks who are working as solo developers got some new graphics to show us, or? And the silence was deafening.
I can show mine next Wednesday. But
You
you
show-
can read my pitch that I didn't share. and it's in my drive.
I can read what that you didn't share?
My elevator.
Oh, your
pitch.
elevator pitch. Okay, awesome. Let's see. So let's go in here and go to Don't Tell Me, Don't Tell Me. I'm in Chrome. I gotta go
Livia.
to here. Livia, huh? Okay, thanks. Let's see. Livia. This one. Okay, so now we gotta find your oh, help me out here. Do you have a folder that's like
Yes, it's game 101. Yes, game 101.
okay, got it. And then card game?
Card game. Yes.
And then
And also Wednesday, I have finished the writing part of the honors project.
of the honors project?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in toxic, you are suffering because you are in a toxic relationship. But don't worry, there are millions like you. Do you want to break the cycle? Take turns drawing cards with your friends. Keep a positive attitude while trying to plunge your opponents in hopelessness and negativity. If an unpleasant card is applied to you, neutralize it with your personality or counteract cards. Whoever ends the game with the highest score wins a healthy relationship, at least in the game. All right, I like that. What do you guys think?
Very nice.
You like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I'm just
Thank
like
you.
super excited. Ever since you first showed us your idea, I've been super excited about it. It's just like
Oh,
such a cool idea,
Thank
like just
you.
taking toxic relationships and making a game out of it. It's really cool.
You can play it with your girlfriend.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
This game should come with a warranty, or a disclaimer that says not responsible for
No,
broken relationships, right?
yes, yes.
Because like, what if people recognize, like from the cards, what if they recognize the behavior in their own relationship? You know what I mean?
Yes, that
They're
can
like, oh,
happen.
That's the danger.
that is a toxic behavior. I never noticed.
That is, in fact, every card I put down has your name on it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So let's see. Victoria and Nick both like the idea too. Cal says he's not exactly ready, but he's working on it. Okay. All right. And very nice. All right. Does anybody else have an elevator pitch or anything else they want to share with us at this time? Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to go into, we have this PDF textbook that I, gave you guys a link to at the beginning of the semester, and I'm like slowly working through that. And we've talked about information from the first two chapters. We're going to talk a little bit about the third chapter today. So on the class website, you can click on this link called Puzzles if you want, and it will download a PDF of chapter 3, which just so happens to be about puzzles, puzzle design. So, okay. So they ask at first, what is a puzzle, right? And of course, you look right here and you see, okay, there's a crossword, that's clearly a puzzle, right? Sudoku is a puzzle, clearly. But it says, the so-called puzzle game genre, as exemplified by Tetris and Bejeweled, does not involve much in the way of puzzle solving, right? We're calling it a puzzle, and I guess Tetris is sort of a spatial puzzle, right? It says, it doesn't have much in the way of puzzle solving, particularly compared to games with an actual and game-ending solution like a crossword puzzle. Now, when you think about a crossword puzzle, it's kind of cool because it does have a victory condition, right? When you finish it, you win, And what they're saying is that things like Tetris and Bejeweled don't have a clear victory condition like that. Meanwhile, challenges referred to as puzzles seem to find their way into digital games as varied as Zork, Zelda, Myst, Final Fantasy, and the Monkey Island series. Consider the common video game pattern in this puzzle. Find object X and put it in location Y. So that's, a generic sort of puzzle. It says also common are the puzzles referred to as mini-games. These games offer brief interludes or challenges to be solved within the context of the larger games. Many video games use mini-games to open locks that allow the player to access the next section of the level. Dictionary.com provides no fewer than 12 different definitions for the word puzzle, only one of which seems relevant to games. 1. A toy, problem, or other contrivance designed to amuse by presenting difficulties to be solved by ingenuity or patient effort. For the purpose of this book and mirroring the use of the word in the video game industry, a puzzle is very broadly defined as a non-combat event or series of events that requires the player to complete a task or an action or some series of tasks or actions in order to progress play. Completing these puzzles may be optional or required. Unfortunately, as far as the player is concerned, there is sometimes no difference between a puzzle and a stop sign. In this chapter, we'll explore how and when to design puzzles and incorporate them as part of a larger game. So let me pause to ask you guys, what are your feelings about puzzles in games? Do you like them? Do you hate them? A little bit of both? What do you think?
I like them.
You like them?
Yes.
Do you ever get frustrated by them? Do you ever hit puzzles that are too hard, or are you just too smart and you beat all the
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I played a word. You know, there was these text adventure games that came out on the computers back when I was in high school, and you know, I also
Oh, I
started.
wasn't born.
Yeah, right. I also started playing Dungeons and Dragons back then, and so this guy who was my dungeon master at the time, he was Rodney Kinney. He was really into computers. He was a really smart guy, studying physics, that kind of guy, you know. Anyway, he had a computer, which not everybody did, and not like today when you've got one in your pocket, when you got one on your watch. But he had this adventure game, and it was all puzzles. It was all word puzzles. And I remember, I'll never forget this one puzzle. I was trapped in a tower, and he said, you know, there's a spoon, there's a bench, and a cup. You know, and I'm like, what? And like, it was one of these puzzles where it was so early in the development of these games that you had to use the exact right word, the exact right wording, like, you know, throw the spoon or scrape the grout with the spoon or whatever to get out. And I tried for like an hour and I couldn't get out of the room. I was like, he's like, do you want me to tell you? I'm like, no, I want to get this. And I went away and I never came back and worked on it. So some part of me is still stuck in that room with the spoon. Anyway, but so that's my thought about puzzles. Is sometimes they're great, they're super fun, they add a lot of value to games, and sometimes they just stop you dead in your tracks. Any other thoughts on puzzles? Anybody else have puzzle experiences?
Yeah, just like sometimes I like how it kind of gives you a break from the rest of the gameplay. Because like I remember there was like some kind of light puzzle solving in God of War, like the most recent one,
Okay.
which then, because that game is like super violent, but then it's like just kind of punctuated with these moments of like puzzle solving, which is a nice break in between all the killing monsters and stuff. But for the most part, it is also like a stop sign for me. Like I'm like, I'm not smart enough. I give up.
Or like, you know, your mind works in different ways, and when you're in there like killing things and slashing, the
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is sit down and go, I think I'll solve the puzzle. You know?
Yeah. Right.
No, I'm in killing mode, you know?
Right.
Although I agree, puzzles are a really nice break, and they help contribute to the pace of a game, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you're out there, you're fighting for 30 minutes, you know, and then things calm down, and then you get to solve a puzzle. The game's not boring because you're still being presented with a challenge,
Yes.
but now it's a
Right.
mental challenge, it's sort of a physical action challenge. So it challenges like the other hemisphere of your brain or whatever.
Right.
And so that creates a sense of balance, or it can, unless they're frustrating.
Yeah. Right.
Then it's horrible, right?
It sucks.
Yeah, I actually was gonna say the same thing Creed said about God of War, but for
Yeah.
me in this case, it was on. I don't know if it was God of War 1 or 2, but there was just one puzzle that took me like. I gave up after like the first hour because I got annoyed by it. Because you have to put these blocks into a certain pattern on the wall,
Yes, dude.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't figure it out. And I'm like, I give up. I'm gonna look up a video.
Yeah.
I just couldn't take it no more.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Well, at least you guys have videos nowadays. I remember back when Myst came out, you know, I think that was the early 80s or something like that. You know, there would be like, you would see these incredible graphics, and then you would hit this puzzle, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to go to the next thing. But the puzzle was too hard. and there was no internet at the time for people to give you the answer, you know. So that was pretty frustrating. But yeah,
So I've got
okay,
another one though.
yeah.
It's kind of an intermediary, kind of inline, subtle puzzle. Mages of Australia has this system where you have components for different for spells you cast, right?
Mhm.
And it's laid out on this hex grid, and putting them together gets you different effects. So I think that's a really good way of like introducing a puzzle mechanic, while not making it required and typically like your typical doorstop puzzle. Um, but yeah, I like this little subtle, not required sort of puzzle. You can play the game normally, and it's kind of challenging, and then you get the optimal thing where it just makes the game entirely too easy. Um, so yeah, I like that kind of approach to puzzles.
I agree. I think a puzzle that's an impediment, that's a stop sign, that's required is kind of a drag sometimes. I love the idea of it being optional or being, not a necessary part of the game, just something that you get to choose to do because the game's there to entertain you. And so you should be able to customize the gameplay for your own personal form of entertainment. And if you're somebody who, like Creed and I, we would run around a puzzle, it sounds like, instead of play it because we want to go kill more things. But every now and then you want to do a puzzle, but you want it to be optional. You know what I mean? Or at least not get pushed too far back in the game because you didn't do it. Okay, so Coulter's saying he can show the tabletop, but his connection is still being funky. So Coulter, do you want to give it a shot and see what we can see?
Yeah, let me try to share my screen. Host disabled participant station.
Oh, I just enabled it.
All right, here we go. Can you see that?
1 second. Yep.
All right, here we go. So we made some not major modifications. I tried getting the chips to actually show all of the values that they actually represent, but tabletop doesn't actually have a way to show that. So for now, I just kind of put these here as an example of what each chip will represent in game, and then put all the chips around the table just as kind of a easy solution to that for now. Um, and as you can see, I got a little bit of a few marbles for each like steel representative, like to represent each um, time you steal a card. So you would use one of your marbles basically, and you'd lose that turn for now. Um, and we've thought about maybe putting calculators in the game since we don't have the automatically adding chips, which would be very nice, but sadly, it's very hard to figure that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've thought about putting that, and we got a little bit of I wrote down a little bit of the snippet for the um, Western draw, kind of like an elevator pitch, and we got to figure out when to write down the rules and stuff, or figure out like what rules are going to be put down. But yeah,
Can you read that to us?
yeah. This is Western Draw is the title since that's our game name. Howdy, cowpokes. I'm sure you've played the same old poker before, right? We thought, what would give this game a more authentic Western feel? The answer, stealing even more stuff from other people.
Cool.
Nice.
What do you guys think? Can you give Coulter some feedback on his sort of elevator pitch and also the improvements to the game?
Yeah.
Coulter, I've just went into like kind of a tutorial series on tabletop scripting.
Yeah.
And if you want, I can help get people's feet wet to that because summing the value of your chips wherever they are should be a trivial thing if you're doing scripting. So
Oh yeah,
let me
I've looked
know.
into it a little bit. I have another thing. Let me see if I have it saved. I have this cube of custom coins that had some scripting in it that I tried to reuse for the chips that we had, but after I loaded it in, let me see if I still have the object saved. But yeah, I had like the 50 chips saved. And as you can see, there's two chips in the stack and it adds them together. But I think once you take it apart, it still
Oh,
is really funky like that. So there's some technical stuff. It's a little bit weird to figure out, but I have looked into it. If there's some good solutions that you've got, definitely send them just in the general chat. But yeah.
yeah.
Sure.
I think that's a great solution. I think scripting is the way to go. And yeah, if it's nice of Jazz to offer, and if he can give you some tips or maybe some sample code to make that happen, that would be really great for your game.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Coulter, I have a question for you, which is, have you thought about, is there a plan to maybe include the numbers on the chips? Like, you have your designs back there, but are you going to put like,
Oh yeah.
you will? Okay. So they're just,
Yeah, we've discussed it. We haven't actually done anything yet. Hugo designed the chips, but we can definitely go back and discuss it and figure out if we want to put the values on there. Because it definitely make it easier to just be like, oh, okay, the boot chips, 1,000, whatever that represents. Like, I don't know, real money if you really want to bet $1,000 on a tabletop game. But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think the chips look really nice. So good job, Hugo. And the table is an improvement. I like the marbles, and it's definitely becoming more real, which is really cool.
yeah. Just got to get all the artwork done. That's the main thing we're still trying to get done.
Okay. All right.
All right, thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else have any other feedback they want to give to Coulter?
Looks great.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's really cool to see, like Greg was saying, it's all coming together. Just like, and the marble implementation too. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
Especially with
Oh
the
yeah.
little cup holders that come with that table. It's just like perfect.
Oh yeah, I have no idea what
Yeah.
the cup holders are used in like a real poker table, but I mean,
Right.
you can put marbles in them at
Yeah,
least.
marbles. They're a marble holder.
Hey, Coulter. Also, one of the things that's kind of fun about poker in the Western world, as we understand it from movies and television, is, high stakes, high danger. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
are you planning on having any danger aspect? Like, will there be any shootouts or any, people being dragged away from the table, or is that just not on the plan?
We could maybe do something like that with the marbles, because I know there's
As
like,
fun as that would be, I don't think we're gonna
yeah,
yeah.
that would be nice to do something just to take away from like the basic format of poker and to like add our own twist to it. So yeah, we could maybe think of doing something like that.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, think about all the stereotypes that exist around gambling and especially poker, Western poker. You guys know that song, "The Gambler," the Kenny Rogers song?
I don't know the
I
song, but
do not.
Uh, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em,
oh,
Oh,
that
that
one.
one,
yes.
know when
Yes, I know
to
that.
wait, when to run, right? So that song, as cliched as it is, it really contains a lot of information that sums up the sort of Western gambler kind of thing. So, you guys know about Genius.com?
No.
So let me share my screen here real quick. So Genius.com is a website that was made. It was originally called RapGenius.com, and it was made just to be sort of a Wikipedia for song lyrics, right? So people would post lyrics of songs that they figured out. Some songs it's kind of hard to figure out what the lyrics are. So you could go there and you could actually read the lyrics for your favorite song. But then people would add commentary, kind of like Wikipedia. So like, if you type in like The Gambler, oops, you have to spell it right, I imagine. Okay, there's The Gambler, Kenny Rogers. So, usually there's a little link in here, down here at the bottom, where you can actually play the song. And then there's the lyrics. And then, as you click on different parts of the lyrics, people's annotations will come in, right? So, this might be a resource for you guys. Go look up this song, look up a few Western gambling songs and see if there's some things they mentioned that you might want to bring into your game to add color, to it.
Yeah, like in our little elevator pitch, like we could make reference to like some sort of song.
Yeah, right, exactly. And if you guys don't want to involve like violence in your game, which I totally understand if you wouldn't, maybe it could be high stakes. Like maybe, do you remember when we were talking about those games throughout history, and there was that one game where people would like actually bet their lives on the game, or they would bet their families into slavery,
Yeah.
like right, which is just it's so insane, but it would be so much fun to like either watch a movie where that was happening or play a game where it's kind of like a movie, it's like a virtual experience where people are actually betting their lives, or betting, something super high stakes because then it makes the game even more fun because of everything you got on the line. Okay, let me go back here. Okay, oh yeah, and then Victoria has mentioned a game that has a lot of puzzles in it. Let me see. Go down here. La, 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 la. Where did it go? Oh, let's see. Uncharted series is filled with puzzles, she said. So Victoria, do you find the puzzles in that game, do you find them frustrating or are they fun? Are they an integral part of the game?
Um, they're equally as frustrating as any other puzzle in any game, but they are an integral part because that's kind of what the point of the game is, because you
Okay.
kind of have to get to like secret places, so obviously there's going to be puzzles to get there.
Right. So going into it, like, there's no illusions. Like you got to like puzzles to play this game kind of thing. Okay, cool. That sounds good. All right, let me go back to my little PDF here. So talking about some basic puzzle characteristics. So designing a new kind of puzzle is similar to designing a game. There's the state of the puzzle, similar to the game state, mechanics for changing the state, and a goal state that is the victory condition. That's kind of cool. A puzzle is like a game within a game, right? Once the mechanics are decided, the designer tweaks them to come up with different dynamics. There's also usually a theme. In the game BioShock, for instance, there's a hacking minigame that the player can solve to unlock doors and take control of electronic objects. The theme here is computer hacking, and the mechanics involve rotating pipes to form a path between the input and output of a board. A screenshot and in-depth description of the inner workings of the hacking minigame can be found at this. Well, let's see if it still exists. This book is a little old, but let's see if we can actually bring anything up. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there we go. Trying to click on this to make it bigger, but it's not getting bigger, so I'll just make my screen zoom out on it. So here's the mini puzzle they're talking about, and so they've got the breakdown of what you need to do, get the pipe to go from one place to the other, and then they show you all of the different aspects of it, and they, basically break down the different parts of the puzzle. So that's somewhat interesting. It might be cool to analyze that if you're making a similar puzzle.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so now here are some different aspects of puzzle games. When designing the rules for a puzzle or mini game, the following traits are necessary. So something they call affordances. It should be easy to figure out the rules and controls. So, if you make even solving the puzzle a puzzle, like how you're even going to approach it, then you're doubly frustrating people, right? Identifiable patterns. Patterns within the puzzle should be clear, so the players are able to identify a series of possibilities required for the game to be solved. Colors and shapes are commonly used, and of course, if you're going to do something like colors, you have to keep in mind that some people are colorblind, and so you can run that your puzzle through Color Oracle and reinforce it with shapes or tweak the colors, right? As are forms of pre-existing knowledge like the spelling of words or functions of common objects. Now, something else you have to think about are cultural differences, right? So like if you design a game and you think, everybody's going to know, like, do you guys know what a spork is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of us, I'll make this blanket assumption. Most of us know what a spork is, right? But if you made a video game and it could be downloaded all over the world, and there's some country that like maybe maybe the spork hasn't reached them yet, you know, they're just so backwards they don't have sporks. I'm just kidding. But you know, and you know, the spork is a big part of the puzzle. Then what you've done is you've made a cultural error because you've made a puzzle that you think includes information that everybody will understand, but it doesn't. It's beyond certain cultures or certain geographic regions. Okay, ease of use. You need a good user interface so that people can work with the puzzle. You need to reward the player's skill. If players encountering the puzzle many times, the player should be able to improve his or her skill, right? It says when designing the rules for a puzzle or minigame that fits in a larger game, the following additional traits generally cause the puzzle to be more interesting to the player. Okay, so these are things you can do. Immersion. Smooth transition between the main game and the mini game. So don't just like make the puzzle pop up, have it be an integral part, right? Like, boom, you got a puzzle. It's like a FedEx package. Boom, you have a puzzle. Yeah. Sorry about this streaming sunlight thing. Let me see if I can get this taken care of here real quick, or a little better. Okay. I think yes, it's improved. Okay, so, you know, incorporate it into the game. Like, you know, if the object of the game is to rescue the treasure out of, you know, the great vault of Aslan, you know, then put the puzzle on the vault door, you know, because that makes sense. They reached the final, you know, they fought their way through all the levels. They finally got to the vault, and there's a puzzle. And there's a level of frustration, but also a level of excitement. You know, we're here. Oh, there's one last task. You know. Okay, it says the transition mostly falls to the artist making sure that the minigame interface is done in the same visual style as the rest of the game, but the designer must consider the fit within the story and the world. Okay, meaningful consequences in the game outside of the minigame, not just you unlock a door, but you get cool items. So things should be relative, you know. If you solve a really hard puzzle, you should get a really cool reward. If the puzzle is really easy, maybe all it does is unlock a door, you know. So it should match, the effort should match the reward. Okay, so what makes puzzles fun? If the game designer's goal is to make a game fun, the inclusion of puzzles in a game should only be done to make the game more fun. That is, to support the core of the game. In some games, puzzles are not appropriate at all. In other games, the designer is limited to certain kinds of puzzles. For example, most kinds of puzzles, especially logic puzzles and riddles, would likely feel out of place in a fast-paced action shooting game, right? Okay, even in a puzzle game, the designer is limited primarily to spatial puzzles. Pausing a game of Tetris to require the player to answer a riddle or explore a map to find an item would take away from the core of the game. So you have to think about, you know, what is the core mechanic of the game? In Tetris, it's, you know, spatial puzzles. So you're not, even though somebody who is there playing Tetris clearly likes a certain kind of puzzle, that doesn't mean that you can pull them out of the game to ask them a riddle, which is also a puzzle, because they're there for a very specific purpose. In general, puzzles are a direct obstacle to players. That's very interesting, that line right there. In general, puzzles are direct obstacles to players. So you have to seriously consider whether you want to put obstacles in your player's way, preventing them from reaching a goal until they solve the puzzle. The fun in a puzzle generally comes from the thrill of victory, the sense of achievement of solving a difficult puzzle, and the gradual sense of mastery that precedes these moments. At best, a good puzzle makes players feel great about themselves for what they can accomplish. Done poorly, puzzles can reduce or eliminate the fun in the rest of the game, just like a traffic jam can ruin a decent drive. A puzzle that players can't solve prevents them from experiencing the game further and causes them even greater frustration. And a puzzle that players see as arbitrary or unfair causes them to hate the game and the designer. So basically, if you make a bad puzzle, people are going to show up at your house. They're going to dox you, and your life will be in danger. So don't do it.
It just comes with the territory.
Yeah.
Bad puzzles.
Bad puzzles. Okay, so here's some different puzzle types. Riddles. My tines be long, my tines be short. My tines and air, my first report. What am I? Anybody know the answer to this one? Tines be long, tines be short. Tines and air, my first report. What am I? No idea. Tines, of course, are those little spikes on forks. Um, wow, no freaking idea. So, right, here's a perfect example. If I'm playing Beyond Zork and I'm having a great time and I hit this puzzle, I'm like, screw you. I just don't get it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do to solve this puzzle. This is the other thing. Maybe you can provide clues for people like me that are just like, I don't know. Okay, sorry, I got this weird stuff popping up. But this is a perfect example of a puzzle that some people probably just breeze by and other people are just frustrated by, and you have to ask yourself whether you want to do that to a certain percentage of your players. Riddles are questions that have one right answer, but the answer is not obvious. Typically, a riddle involves a play on words that require the player to interpret it in a non-standard way in order to solve it. Riddles are far less common in games today than they were 20 years ago. That's because the players hunted down the people who put the riddles in their games and took them out of commission.
They just took out every person who wrote a
Yeah,
riddle into
they had a list. They had like a kill list they put on the internet, and they targeted people's houses. And anyway, riddles, or maybe they all got hired by the FBI. Maybe they're all working in
Right.
criminology or something. Riddles are far less common in games today. Okay, this is partly for practical reasons. A riddle takes a fair amount of time and effort to create, yet it is only encountered by a player once. Riddles also have no replay value, as the player who solves it the first time can recall the solution on future playthroughs. This property of riddles makes them costly compared to other type of content. That makes sense, right? Riddles also aren't particularly fun to try to solve for the majority of players. Once the solution is known, there's a sense of reward. However, players either immediately know the answer to a riddle or they don't. So a riddle is kind of a lose-lose puzzle. If you think about it, first of all, if somebody knows the answer immediately, then the puzzle has almost no value because somebody got it right away. But then if the opposite is true, if they don't know it, then they probably have no idea where to start to figure it out. So you've screwed them either way, right? Let's see. Yeah, and that's exactly what it says. Players either immediately know the answer or they don't, and if they don't, they're stuck for good or off on an internet search mission, which takes you out of the game, right? Unless the solution eventually occurs to them on their own. Not exactly stuff of fun gameplay. That said, there are a few tricks to making riddles less frustrating if designer insists on including them. Okay, so if you got to put riddles in, here's some help. So make the riddles purely optional. Optional puzzles are the way to go, I think. In the classic RPG, Betrayal at Krondor, riddles were used as locks on treasure chests. That's cool. Opening a chest would give the player useful but non-essential items. That's a nice way to put the mechanic in.
Right.
Offer
It's
clues.
like
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry.
No,
I was just thinking like back to the BioShock puzzle is I'm pretty sure from what I remember that was like you could buy items from a vending machine, and if you did the puzzle it just made the items cheaper. So like you get a little reward, but it's like, oh, you can still buy these items anyway. You
Right.
just don't spend as much of your money if you get the puzzle. So it's like really cool when they do that.
Right. So you get to choose how much time you want to invest in this puzzle,
Right.
especially if you have some idea what the reward is. If you're
Yeah.
like, oh, it's just kind of a medium reward, I'll spend a modicum of time on it and then I'll leave it alone if I don't get it. That gives you, remember, meaningful choices is an important part of gameplay for players.
Right.
It lets them feel like they have some control over their destiny within the game world. Okay, offer clues. Betrayal at Krondor did not simply ask the players to type in the answer to a riddle. Instead, the player was shown exactly how many letters were in the answer, so it's sort of Wheel of Fortune thing. And each letter only had a few choices. A determined player could write down each possibility and search for valid words, turning a riddle into a Boggle-like word search instead. Players could also find hints to some riddles by talking to NPCs in the game. Now I like this because A, they've made the riddle optional. B, there's not that much value attached to the riddle, so you can bypass it if you want. And then C, they've given you another path to victory over this puzzle, right? Instead of just guessing it outright, you can do the Wheel of Fortune thing and guess letters, and there's only a few possibilities. So eventually you can hack the thing out. And then another path to victory, NPC players give you clues. Brilliant, that's the way to do a riddle. Allow alternate solutions. Perhaps the player could solve a riddle or complete a different challenge. In Dungeons and Dragons, a Sphinx will allow the heroes to pass if they answer a riddle, but they can also attack the Sphinx and defeat it in combat. Like, I hate riddles! You know?
Kill it. Just run attack.
I think I remember, I may be just like, messing with my own mind here or something like that, but I think I remember when we were playing D&D in high school that we did encounter a Sphinx, and I think I think the Sphinx gave us that classic riddle, what starts out on 4 legs, then is on 2 legs, and then on 3. And because it was a classic riddle, we were able to solve it. You guys know the answer to that?
The man.
The man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's crawling on all 4s when he's a baby. He's walking on 2 when he's an adult, and then uses a cane when he's older. Okay, so let's see. To create riddles, designers usually start with the answers and create the puzzles afterwards. So starting with an answer of car, a valid riddle could be, it sits on 4 and those on 2 sit within. For the curious, the answer to the riddle posed at the beginning of the section is lightning. Oh! The tines riddle, let's see. My tines belong. Oh, come on, that's hard. Is there anybody in the universe that describes little pieces of lightning as tines?
Watch the
No.
lightning fork.
Oh my God. That's too hard. These are people, okay, make a note. Go find the Zork people and hurt them.
We're
Okay,
gonna find the
I'm
Beyond
kidding.
Zork
I'm
people.
kidding. Don't do that. Okay, now, here's a puzzle that I'm going to give to you guys to solve. All right? So get yourself a piece of paper and a pen, right? It says, like riddles, lateral thinking puzzles are trick questions that have a single correct answer. These puzzles are constructed in such a way that players make assumptions that are not true, and solving the puzzle requires the player to question his or her assumptions. Here is a classic example. I got to make sure I don't present you with the solution. Okay, place a pencil on this sheet of paper. Okay, so what you need to do is take a piece of paper and make 9 dots on it in a square fashion like this, right? Now, take a pen or a pencil, and without removing the pencil from the page, draw 4 straight lines in such a way that all 9 dots are connected. Okay, so you get a total of 4 straight lines, and you have to connect all 9 dots. This is your puzzle.
I can do it in 3.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
Okay, well, you're going to have to do it, and then you're going to have to share that with us, but give people a chance to solve it first. And we do have to put some value on this puzzle, so your entire grade for the semester is based on whether you can solve this puzzle.
No.
I hate puzzles.
We need an alternate path to victory.
I know.
Do they all have to be connected to each other?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
It's sort of like you're drawing 4 straight lines, but the path of these straight lines has to basically hit every single dot.
I remember this. My teachers were. So this was brought to me in elementary school. It's a really awesome puzzle. I want to see if people can figure this out.
I gotta be honest, the first time I tried this, I couldn't figure it out. Did you get it, Jazz, the first time?
I've actually forgotten the solution.
Oh,
But
now's your turn to solve it again.
yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, so I can't complete it.
I know I'm lost.
It's
I have-
actually really simple once the solution is shown. So once you actually figure it out, it's a fairly simple solution.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of.
that's what sucks about puzzles is they're so devastatingly hard until you learn the answer, and then you're like, of course, that was so obvious.
I'm an idiot.
Looks like Cal got it. Cal may be the only one passing the class.
I believe I saw this puzzle on a Brain Games episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you guys know what that show is.
Thanks.
That's where I said I could do it in 3.
Good for you, man. That's A+ material.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give you a few more minutes to be frustrated and ultimately to suffer and fail. No, I'm kidding. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful that you will get this. While you're working on this, think about if this was a puzzle in a game that you're having fun playing. Think about the frustration level. I mean, what if we didn't have any of that stuff we talked about in the other game? What if there were no NPCs giving us clues? What if the value of solving this puzzle was high, like we couldn't even move on? Then the frustration level would be high, and we'd be like, oh, I hate this game. No cheating, no looking on the internet for answers. Okay, 2-minute warning. I've got 413 on my computer. At 415, we're going to scroll down to the solution. Well, Cal, yeah, I think it is possible to do it in 3. Someone said that they could do it in 3, so. Okay, Sam says he got it. Victoria's lost. Yeah, I was lost too. I didn't get this, but you guys are smarter than I am, so you'll get it. One minute. Remember, your entire grade and your whole college career hinges on this. No pressure.
If I can't figure out this puzzle, I fail all my classes.
Yeah, not only do you fail your classes, but we retroactively go back and remove your grades for all previous classes and charge you for our efforts.
Okay. Don't mind me. I'm definitely not looking this up right now.
Okay, Nick thinks he has it. Coulter says, what if you simply scribbled on it? That's definitely an out-of-the-box solution. Well, remember, they have to be straight lines. I don't know if you can scribble perfectly straight lines. Okay, we're at 415. Here comes the solution, guys.
Am I going to be upset?
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I don't have that.
Yeah, I knew the lines had to go outside the puzzle. I just couldn't remember the orientations.
Oh, wow. Look at, put that up
Nice.
again. Put that 3-line solution up. Look at that 3-line solution. It's a Z.
Nice.
That is smart. I like that. Well, that introduces a new concept too. Look at that. That's cool. I like that. Nice solution.
Nice.
So this is cool. There's multiple ways to solve it. You could even, because somebody solved it in 3, you could even give somebody extra bonuses if this were the puzzle they were going to try and solve, right? So it says the analysis from riddles applies here as well. Lateral thinking puzzles are expensive to create. They are only experienced once, and they can be frustrating if they block a player's path and the player can't think of the solution. Like other forms of puzzles, make these optional, offer alternate ways to solve them, and give players additional clues to point them in the right direction if they're taking a long time to solve it. So let's see. Sam says, I did it by drawing back on previous lines since it wasn't making new lines and I wasn't picking up my pen. Okay, cool. That's an interesting solution too. Okay, let's see. This is a cool puzzle game. So spatial reasoning. Spatial puzzles involve the manipulation of objects either in the mind or on the puzzle surface. Tetris is essentially a continuous, fast-moving spatial puzzle. The Adventures of Lolo series and Sokoban are examples of a series of spatial puzzles made into a complete game. Other games, notably RPGs and adventure games, often use spatial puzzles as smaller quests in a larger game. Consider the myriad sliding crates puzzle in console RPGs and action games. Okay, and then here is one. This is called Shift Prototype. Shift uses squares with different connecting lines. Players could turn the squares and shift entire rows depending on their orientation. That's kind of a cool concept, huh? So this is the Shift Prototype. Okay, spatial reasoning is also often used in boss battles where the player must use the level or the structure of the creature itself to succeed in battle. Shadow of the Colossus mastered this in each of its battles, effectively turning the creatures into their own playable levels. Yeah. How many of you guys have played Shadow of the Colossus?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that is just one of the coolest games out there. The whole idea that the monsters would be the levels is just, that alone is worth the price of admission.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, a few more concepts here. Pattern recognition. Pattern recognition puzzles require the player to look for and identify a pattern when presented with information. Code breaking is the height of this form of puzzle solving, of course. In electronic games, patterns can come at the player faster and faster, making recognition more difficult, or have mild differences in them, such as missing component every 5th time the pattern is presented. In sports, people regularly study the patterns of competing teams in order to establish both a superior offense and defense. Or they just deflate the footballs. That's another path to victory, right? Or send a little drone in to spy on their coaches and figure out what their signals mean, right? Boss battles often involve players recognizing the pattern in the boss and identifying the weak point at which the boss is vulnerable to attack. You guys think of any examples of that? Patterns in a boss action?
Pretty much every boss.
Yeah, I was thinking like there's always that same mechanic where like the boss tosses something at you and you have to like hit it back to them and time it up perfectly. It's like that little time puzzle, like getting the timing right and everything until eventually the boss misses slapping it back to you and then you get a hit on him.
Right. So pattern recognition is a huge part of defeating bosses, right? Okay. We got something here called the Gannon pattern. What does that mean, Jesse? Okay, no answer there.
Yeah, that was the throwing stuff back at him. That was what Crete was talking about.
Yeah, it was just that mechanic. Yeah, that.
And Jesse says, I just first saw that in Ocarina of Time where you hit his attack back to him. Okay. And then Victoria says, those boss fights are atrocious. Okay, logic. I'm sorry, was somebody going to say something? Logic. You have 4 orbs colored black, blue, red, and yellow. You must place them on 4 pedestals in the correct order. Black is on the left, red is next to blue, yellow is to the right of red. Okay, so they've given you a puzzle, and they've given you a pretty big clue, but of course you have to mess around with it a few times to figure it out. Logic puzzles require the player to take a set of given information and derive additional information to find the solution. These puzzles are most frequently seen in puzzle magazines and adventure games, but they can also be used as challenges in other types of games. As with riddles and lateral thinking puzzles, there is a single solution that the player must solve to progress, so logic puzzles should be used with caution. On the other hand, logic puzzles can be forgiving. In the case of the preceding example, if there is only a minor penalty or no penalty for guessing wrong, players could try all the combinations of orbs until they get it right. The game could also be designed to give hints, showing players how close they are to the correct solution. That's kind of a cool idea. You could have like a set of arrows that go up, almost like, at the traditional circus when you you grab a big hammer and you hit the lever, and if you're strong enough, the little pulley will pull it all the way up and hit the belt, right? So maybe if somebody gets close, you have some arrows that go up, but they don't go up all the way. And then if they get further away from the solution, the arrows go down. So you could give them some sort of graphic, visual feedback. Okay, in either case, the player should either get a penalty for a wrong guess or a bonus for getting the answer right, or for getting the answer right away. Otherwise, the puzzle seems like an arbitrary, pointless barrier to the rest of the game that just wastes the player's time. So once again, your puzzles, they need to have a reason for being there. And then they need to be designed correctly so that, they reinforce the player's fun and not suck it out of the game. Okay, exploration, mazes, dungeons, world maps. Exploring the environment is found in a wide variety of games. Examples of exploration activities might be locating a specific person in a large town, finding a path through a maze-like series of corridors, or finding all of the treasure chests on the current level. In first-person shooter games, exploration and knowledge of a level is second only to player skill when it comes to survival. Adventure games like The Legend of Zelda are well known for exploration-based puzzles, as are RPGs. Katamari Damacy elevated level design by forcing players to consider levels in a new way, as subsets of even greater levels that would be revisited again and again at different sizes. In 2D and 3D platformers, exploration of a level is often the puzzle. How do you get from A to B to Z to finish the level? In this case, you're not fighting against the enemies so much as you are trying to complete the level. So does anybody have examples of games like that where just figuring your way finding is actually the puzzle?
Hollow Knight.
Which one?
Hollow Knight.
Okay.
Metroidvanias in general.
Yeah, I was gonna say what came to mind was Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Okay. All right. For many players, exploration is fun in and of itself. You think of something like Red Dead Redemption, and just exploring that world is like half the fun, right? The thought of going down into a dungeon and mapping its corridors is the digital equivalent of spelunking, caving. In the early days of video games, in fact, the Wizardry series even shipped with graph paper and later included an auto map as a feature, after the player found the auto map kit in the game. Nowadays, auto maps are commonplace, and many identify stuck points that require players to find some kind of items, solve a puzzle, or complete a specific quest to pass. While exploration is a great reward for many, and in fact an aesthetic many games elevate to an art form, it can also become an obstacle when players encounter an area they cannot enter or cross, perhaps an open pit or a locked door. When players become stuck in levels and have no alternate way forward, the effect is similar to that of a bad riddle or a puzzle. It functions as a stop sign and frustrates the player. So it seems like everything that we think we can add into a game that will make it fun also has an attached caveat. With puzzles, which clearly can be fun, there's all of these rules you have to abide by to make sure they're not too hard, that they make logical sense, that there's enough clues, and that they're not, critical for gameplay. And the same is true of exploration. you have to make sure that that there are sort of limits on the exploration that allow the player to enjoy themselves, and not that it's not exploration that just takes them sort of out of the gameplay in a way, and makes them almost lost in the game, not in a good way, but in a way like, what do I do next? There's no clues to help me. Okay, so let's just read this last section here. So item use. Some games, notably graphic adventure games like Myst and action RPGs, use puzzles that involve the use of objects. The player must figure out which items to use in what order to solve a particular challenge. A simple example is using a lighter to light the wick on a candle, and then using a candle as a light source to see around a dark room. Item-based puzzles are more challenging if items can be combined or used on each other, or if they are used in non-obvious ways. A particularly difficult puzzle in Maniac Mansion required the player to moisten some postage stamps in order to stick them on an envelope, but the game did not have a lick stamps command. The solution: fill an empty bottle with water and place the bottle and the stamps in a microwave. Oh my God. I would hunt these people down.
That sounds
Oh
interesting.
my gosh.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like, that's when you read about the puzzle, you're like, oh, that's really clever. But if you were there trying to solve the puzzle, you'd be hating on these people, right? Let's see. To reduce player frustration, a designer can give clues about non-obvious item use, for example, by showing an NPC early in the game who's using the item in question. Okay. All right. So I think we're going to pause there. Let's see. So we can talk more about this on Wednesday, talk more about level and puzzle design and things of that nature. But what I want to do is give you guys some time to work with each other or by yourselves on your games. Let's see if you can put some time in right now and some time over the next couple days, and let's see if everybody can have something to show on Wednesday, whether it's a new graphic you created, or a mock-up of something. Maybe you made some changes to your tabletop simulator game. Let's keep moving all the games forward. I know you guys are working on stuff, and some of the stuff like the art takes a long time. But if you keep making incremental steps forward, you'll get a lot closer to getting the game done. Okay, so go ahead and break into your teams or work by yourself. Get some work done on the game, and then I'll check back in with you in a little while. So Jazz, you still there?
Yes.
So, did you want? I was wondering if Livia is still there too. Livia, are you still online?
I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yeah. So I talked to both of you guys about the process you guys are using. Is there anything I can do to help with your process? Like, where are you, Jazz, in figuring things out?
Well, like I said, I like Olivia's art style, but in terms of figuring things out, like on a technical level, I have some stuff that making it difficult for me to like share and collaborate with the PSD files. And I think just in general, because I've got, unfortunately, I'm suffering a bug worthy of developers' attention with GIMP.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I can't actually load any of my fonts on my system, my custom fonts. So Livia's one of the suggestions was magenta for that font for the title. I cannot use
Yes.
magenta in GIMP. So that just
Okay.
like shoots a whole bunch of things down for me, which is really
I
unfortunate.
can solve that, but when you're saying the templates, it has some tests. I can select the test because I don't know, maybe how is that is how Jim put that art in PSD, but the test is like an image. I can select the test of the cars. If you can put all the tests of the car in a Google document, and I can copy and paste.
Yeah. So I started that Google Sheet, and it was basically meant to contain the stats for all of the different cards. What I now, in addition to that, I can put the card front text on in that document somewhere as well.
Okay.
Let me see if I can open that up real quick. That is the wrong account. I'm sorry, Olivia, what were you going to say?
I have a question also. Either car. Let me see if I can open it. I don't know what happens now. My internet is so slow right now.
Hey, Jazz, you got a message from Cal to check your private message when you get the chance. He may be talking about here in Zoom.
I'm opening chat. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, Cal, I don't know. Do you want to meet me in Discord later for a private answer to that? I'll watch the chat.
He says, yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Okay. So after I'm done with Livia, I'll try to find you on Discord, and we'll set something up.
Let me just ask you something. I'm having problem with the internet, but I guess I can open this in my phone.
Okay.
It's about the leader cars.
Oh, the leader cards.
Can we share that? Can we share that folder with Greg?
Yeah.
The folder that we have.
Yeah.
So he can see it.
Yeah, sure.
Let me
You've got
share.
the sharing. Yeah.
Yes. Let me just share it right now. Okay.
So, Jazz, if you find that you can't get the Adobe programs by using your Pima login, I can put you in touch with Pima IT, and they can work with you to see if they can get you access to those programs.
That might be good too. I think I'll also have to connect with Adobe IT because let me show you something. This one. This is my Photoshop Express. It has been sitting like this for the past half an hour. I've clicked sign in with Google.
No, yeah, you don't want to do that.
Okay.
That's not going to work. So can you get out of this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you signed up for a free account using your Pima email, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now go to the adobe.com.
Okay. One of these tabs is just Adobe. Okay.
Click the login in the upper right hand corner.
Yeah, I'm logged in.
Okay. Maybe. Okay. Now you should have options. Do me a favor. Log out and log back in again.
Okay.
There's no way you can show me that screen, is there?
Yeah, one sec. Yeah, let's just do the screen. You can see that, right?
It's coming up. Okay, there it is. Okay, so you're going to sign in.
Mm-hmm. So what I have done is sign in with Google previously.
No, you can't. You can't. That will not work.
Okay, the problem is I've already linked the.
You don't have.
Accounts.
That's not the correct address.
Oh, oops, that is not the correct address.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't remember the password, but let's see. Nope. Okay.
Okay, see if they can send you the password or whatever.
It was my alternate. Okay. Save that number. I don't care. You guys can call.
Oh my God. You can hit skip. You can hit skip down there.
I might as well just
Okay.
finish this, whatever it wants. Number is
Okay.
okay. So now it's logging in.
Now,
Okay.
okay, click over on creativity and design, top left. Let's see. Oh, that's not it. Yeah, I don't see you as being in.
Oh, download install in support. There it is.
Where?
What, here?
Download.
Download
Go
and
down.
install. Okay, click on download and install.
Okay.
It still doesn't look like the right planet. Okay, scroll down and click on Creative Cloud. Oh, wait, there's Photoshop. Oh, yeah, see, this is not right. See, it should not say start free trial. If you logged in, if Adobe and Pima both had your email address in there as being someone who could access this, you would be able to download the actual program. So I suspect because you're in the game design program and not in the digital arts program that your email address never made it. But like I said, we could put you in touch with Pima's IT, and they might be able to add you to the Adobe list, and then maybe you could get in.
That'd be great.
Okay, so I'll send them a message with your email on it and have them contact you.
Okay, great. Thanks. So yeah, once that's fixed, I'm sure I can open and edit and all that stuff with the Photoshop files. I'm not worried about being able to do that once that's all finished.
Okay.
So Olivia, I apologize, but our collaboration, it has a little bit of a kink in it.
So another thing, Jazz, can you use the 7-day free trial until all this gets resolved, or have you used it already?
I have not used free trials yet. I was kind of waiting until there was a known window that I could get the stuff for sure.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if Pima IT can get it done in a week, I can certainly start the free trials now.
I would say try it now because they're very busy and it may take them, a few days to get back to you about all this.
Sure. Let's go ahead and.
So Logan also said, "What if Jazz uses my personal account?"
I mean, I could, but I would just want to set this up for my student account.
Yeah. Okay.
And as long as the free trial like converts without problem, then we're fine.
Okay.
7 days. Oh, and it wants card information.
Oh, he has to put the credit card.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't want to do that, I understand. You could take Logan up. You could take Logan up on his offer, and he could share his.
Because I barely use
with
my
you.
Photoshop and everything.
Yeah. You want to try that, Jazz?
Yeah, let's try that. Let me switch out. Okay.
So you want to put your information in chat, Logan?
You can. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, send it privately to me. That's fine. I will. Thank you. Oops.
So Logan, you only have it configured on one computer, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, because you can use it on up to 2 computers, but you can't use it at the same time on both computers.
Right, yeah.
Oh, I shared the folder with you, Greg.
Okay.
It's 234040 Civil War.
All right. Let me look it up. Maybe it sent me a message or something. Okay, yeah. I am in there now.
Okay, then go to card template
Okay.
and open Cyberpunk Game Leader Deck Template, PSD.
Game leader deck template.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, I got it open.
Okay. I don't know. You see that there in the bottom there are something blue, orange, and red.
Right.
What are those?
Well, my understanding is those are icons that are representative of some part of the gameplay.
Yes, but I need to know what.
Okay.
So they are parts. They were parts of the gameplay. Given some of the things that I've been hearing about, I've just eliminated them.
Oh,
so
okay.
we're dealing with straight mission count instead of anything else.
So both the front and the back of the leader game, they are going to look alike, because that was almost the difference between the other, that is the back, that says back. See, Cyberpunk Game Leader back.
Which folder are you looking at?
The folder of card templates, the one that you made.
The one that I made. Okay.
Yes.
So I think Jazz, part of what she's saying is that the front and the back look very similar.
Oh yeah, that's because I didn't have any individual character art.
Oh, okay.
So all I did was add an extra thing to look at the name. That's what that file is on the deck template.
Uh-huh.
And the deck back doesn't have that. So all it really is it's placeholder art, basically.
So if Livia puts in a character art on one side, then that's going to look very different from the other side.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, her designs for the cards are also quite different.
Yeah, no, I saw one. They look kind of cool. Yeah, go ahead, Livia.
So they're going to. So I put the character in one side, and on the other side of that character card, what do you want?
You mean for the back?
Yes.
Oh, well, initially I just thought, let's put some faces in a folder or some such. If you look at the back or the template, like all of the cards initially were designed with the idea of, hey, I've got a transparent PDA in my hand. And with that in mind, like on the bottom right of the cards for the leader deck, there's kind of this large like tab going down, and none of the other cards have that. That's like local files.
Okay.
So that was my impression when putting those together.
Okay, so you want the leader and I leave you a space down the leader, so you can put that.
No, I don't need the space for those icons. You can use all the space you want.
Okay. Okay. This card is I can see the name. It's Cyberpunk location. I can see the name. It's this one. Let me see, where is my camera? It's here. It's this one.
That looks like a location template.
Yes. Are you going to put something where the rectangle red, teal, purple, and green are? Are you going to put something there?
Yes. So the stats on the left side of the card are going to be the gameplay elements.
Okay.
Now we can certainly adjust the design of these things, but I definitely wanted a stat block on the left side of the locations and the missions, and on the right side of the mercenaries. And other than that, like, art is completely open.
So
Okay.
I'm looking at one of these location cards now, Jazz.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like there's maybe what you would call placeholder icons in there right now.
Yes.
Okay, and then there are definitely going to be numbers in here, right?
Yes. In this particular PDF/PNG, what is it? Oh, it's a PSD. Well, the PSD has those layers, has the numbers as layers in there. So you should be
Okay.
able to see those.
Okay. So she
The
could
ready for what? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Go. The red is for what?
Ready? I don't remember saying ready for.
No. She's saying the red color. What is the red color for? The red.
Oh, attack. Generally, that's the attack stat.
And the teal?
And the teal color?
Is defense. The purple is stealth. And the green's popularity. Or perception.
Popularity.
Maybe we'll do a perception.
Perception.
Yeah.
So Livia, he's saying that there's a layer in there that you could turn on that would put some numbers in there. And then he said that the icons in there are could easily be changed. So now that you know the name of each of those, you could potentially come up with an icon for each one, right?
And the black rectangle is for what?
That's just the art placeholder window.
For what?
So, the art of the location.
Ah, okay. So, and then below that is that
like a map?
text?
No, more like a visual representation of the location. So if it was a coffee shop, you might see the coffee shop from outside on the street. If it was a rail, like a subway, you might have a view from inside the subway.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's two boxes. So are they both graphics, or is the top one the graphic of the location, the bottom one is some sort of text?
I was playing with the idea of a flavor text, but this also could be places where, if we have some more highlighted text rather than the gray I've been using, we could put card mechanics in there as well.
Okay, so probably that's a text area.
Yeah.
And then the big black sort of oblong rounded rectangle at the top, that is the name of the location?
The light blue is the namespace. The darker gray is the time of day modifier.
Okay. And then does Livia have examples of all this on different layers?
Yeah, so the layers are in there. There's some placeholder text in there. That's all relatively good. If you want to see the entire sheet I made for Tabletop Simulator, I can upload that, Livia, if it would help. But
okay,
I was just
please.
Okay, well, I was just going to upload the spreadsheet because it's less space, but yeah, I can upload the Tabletop Simulator stuff. Let me find it.
You require all that space for text under the image of the location?
No, it's not required. In fact, if we wanted to replace the entire thing in terms of locations with just art, I'd be fine with that. But what I did with the mercenaries in particular, and some of the missions was just used it for some levity text, something to lighten the mood.
I think it's a good idea to have some text in there because cards usually have a balance of text and imagery, right?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're going to send me the text in. You're going to put the text of the card in a Google Doc.
Yeah. So do you remember where the Book of Decks spreadsheet is?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish out that, and then we should be good to go.
Okay.
So it'll include the flavor text. Will be an idea of kind of the attitude of the card.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't have all that filled in for locations and whatnot yet. I'm gonna get to that as soon as I'm done with Cal. I have to go over and talk to Cal on Discord for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have more questions, Livia?
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
All right.
I have to tell you guys that I really like what's happening with this game. You know, the concepts, the mechanics are so much fun, and the graphics that I've seen are looking really cool. So I'm really looking forward to this game.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely will be giving Livia a lot of credit where it's due, though. I mean, her art is awesome. So, all
Okay.
right. So I'm going to go and talk to Cal, and we can touch base in a little bit. I'm going to be filling out the spreadsheet in the meantime after I'm done with Cal.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'm going to end the class in about 9 minutes, so you guys might want to talk on Discord.
Yeah, we
Okay.
will.
All right, thanks.
Oh, I can talk on Discord because my computer is in another class.
Oh,
I'm in the iPad.
Can he email you?
Yes,
Or
he has my
we've got
phone.
each other's
You
numbers.
can
Yeah.
chat to me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
we've
You
got
can send me a
text.
text.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right.